Some people vanish when the world turns its back. Others rise when it matters most. Anna Brooks wasn't always just a nurse. Before Hillside Hospital, before the quiet compassion, she'd survived a darker world, one where lives were numbers and choices bled consequences. She thought she'd left that behind, thought she could start over. But fate doesn't knock. It collapses. Midtown, 3:47 p.m. A man falls, the crowd freezes, Anna runs. One heartbeat restarts, and the past comes breathing down her neck. What begins as a rescue becomes a reckoning. She saved a life, but what did she awaken? Subscribe if you truly care for people in trouble. Another special story is waiting for you. The day Anna Brooks lost her job, it didn't rain, but it felt like it should have. The sun mocked her through the hospital windows as the administrator delivered the news with the warmth of a vending machine. Budget cuts, Anna. It's nothing personal. Nothing personal. Like medicine wasn't personal. Like 15 years of service didn't matter. Like sitting with dying patients when families didn't show up wasn't worth anything. She packed her things in silence. Her small apartment in Queens welcomed her with unpaid bills and a blinking voicemail light. She didn't check it. She already knew what it was. Another reminder of everything slipping away. 3 days later, Anna walked through Midtown, clutching a resume she wasn't sure mattered. No hospitals were hiring. Not for people like her. Overqualified, underconnected, and too kind to play the politics. Then it happened. A man in a tailored suit stumbled across the street, his face pale as paper. No one moved. Phones filmed. Silence stretched as he crumpled to the ground, lifeless. Anna dropped her bag and sprinted. She didn't think. She dropped to her knees, feeling for a pulse. Nothing. She began chest compressions. 1, 2, 3. The crowd closed in, murmurs thick in the air. Do something. She's a nurse, right? Is he? Time warped. For a moment, it was just her and the man on the pavement. Her hands shaking but steady. Her breaths deep but sharp. Her fear real but buried. He gasped. The crowd erupted. Paramedics arrived seconds later, but Anna was already fading into the background. Just another face in the crowd again. She left before the media, before the gratitude, before the man even opened his eyes. But someone saw. Ben Cole. Young, sharp suit, eyes like Judgment Day. He found her the next day. You saved my father, he said, standing at her doorstep like a character from a life she didn't live. I just did what anyone would, she replied. But she was wrong. Not everyone would. He offered money. She declined. He offered something else, a job. Personal medical advisor. Private. High stakes. High pay. 3 times her salary. Full benefits. Privacy contracts. But something in his voice, something behind his smile, something made her hesitate. Still, she said yes. She should have said no. Because the man she saved wasn't just Henry Cole. He was a man with enemies. And now Anna, she's on their radar. The car that picked Anna up the next morning wasn't just black. It was obsidian, polished to reflect a world she no longer recognized. The driver didn't speak, just opened the door and nodded, like he knew things she didn't. Inside, the silence was suffocating. Anna stared out at Midtown as it blurred by. Past the deli where she once bought dollar coffee before double shifts. Past Hillside Hospital that now stood like a ghost. Familiar places suddenly felt distant, like a life she'd been evicted from. Then the Cole Group building rose into view. Steel, glass, power. She stepped into the lobby and instantly felt out of place. Her shoes were scuffed, her jacket borrowed. Around her, people moved with purpose, like their time mattered more than anyone else's. Ben Cole was waiting on the 57th floor. His office smelled of cedar and ambition. Anna, he said, rising, glad you came. He was too calm, too confident for someone whose father almost died in the street days ago. I still don't understand why me, she said, sitting hesitantly. Ben offered her tea. She declined. He leaned back, hands steepled. You didn't hesitate. That's rare. My father needs someone he can trust, someone who doesn't care about titles, just results. Anna glanced at the contract. Thick, heavy, bloodless. He doesn't need a nurse, she said. No, Ben agreed. He needs a shield. That word made her skin crawl. She looked at the clauses. NDA, relocation clause, 24/7 availability, private quarters on site. This isn't just about health, Anna whispered. Ben's smile didn't reach his eyes. Number, it's about survival. Before she could ask more, the door opened. Henry Cole walked in, alive, barely. He looked older than he did in the papers, thinner, eyes sunken with secrets, but sharp, too sharp. So this is the woman who dragged me back from the brink, he rasped, voice like gravel. Anna stood instinctively. You just did what no one else had the guts to, Henry said, which is why you're here. I'm a man with many friends, Ms. Brooks, and more enemies. You might be the only person I can trust to keep me alive. The way he said it, it wasn't gratitude, it was a warning, and that's when Anna noticed it. The security, the armed guard near the door, the small camera blinking in the corner. This wasn't just a job. This was a prison with a view. That night, Anna moved into her private quarters, a suite with marble floors, a stocked fridge, and a panic button by the bed. She should have felt safe. Instead, she felt watched. At midnight, she heard whispers through the vent. At 1:47 a.m., a door clicked somewhere in the hall, and at 3:06 a.m., she opened her laptop to review the contract again and found a hidden file. Do not open. Trust no one. The file had no author, no timestamp, just those words. She hesitated, clicked. It was a video, blurry, shaky, shot on a phone. It showed Henry Cole in a room with another man, a deal being made, then a gunshot, then silence, and Henry dragging the body away like it meant nothing. Anna slammed the laptop shut. Her breath caught. Her heartbeat raced. She didn't save a man. She saved a monster. And now, she works for him. Anna didn't sleep. The image of Henry Cole hauling a lifeless body into shadow burned behind her eyelids like a brand. She paced her suite until dawn, the city skyline bleeding gold through bulletproof glass. She'd saved that man. And now, she was trapped in a palace built on secrets. At 6:02 a.m., her tablet buzzed. A message from Ben. Father requests your presence. Now rooftop garden, rooftop garden. She hadn't even known there was a rooftop garden. Henry was already waiting when she stepped out onto the roof. The garden looked like something stolen from Versailles. Pruned hedges, delicate fountains, birds chirping from hidden speakers. Sleep well? He asked, not turning around. No, Anna said plainly. He smiled, still facing the skyline. Good. Sleep is for people who don't know what's coming. I saw the video, she said softly. Last night. Someone wanted me to. Only then did Henry turn to her. Slowly, eyes calm, calculating. And what did you think you saw? A murder, he chuckled. Then you weren't watching closely. Anna didn't blink. Explain. Henry stepped closer, voice low. There are things you don't understand yet, Miss Brooks. Things that don't fit in your tidy little world of codes and ethics. The man in that video, he wasn't innocent. He was trying to have me killed. That doesn't justify. It wasn't justice. It was survival. She couldn't tell if she believed him, but something in his eyes, something old and scarred, made her believe he believed it. Your job is to keep me alive, Anna, he continued, not judge my past. She didn't answer. She couldn't. That afternoon, Anna visited the lower levels of the Cole Tower, where the private medical suite was housed. She wanted to familiarize herself, understand her role, but something was wrong. Rooms were locked, cameras turned toward her as she walked, and room 314, the one marked private, had a biometric scanner instead of a keycard. When she passed it, she swore she heard movement inside. A thud, a cry, then silence. She asked Ben later, during a lunch meeting in the executive dining room. What's in room 314? He froze for just a second, then smiled. Storage. Anna didn't buy it, but she didn't push. Not yet. That night, a note was slid under her door. Meet me. Parking level 3. Midnight. Come alone. A friend. Her hands trembled as she held it. No signature. No explanation. She didn't know who to trust. Ben. Too polished. Too rehearsed. Henry. Too dangerous. Too much power. The staff barely looked her in the eye. At 11:59 p.m., Anna stood by the stairwell, heart pounding. At midnight, she slipped into the concrete chill of parking level 3. Empty, silent. Then footsteps. A shadow peeled from behind a pillar. A woman, mid-30s, nervous, eyes darting. "You're Anna?" "Yes." The woman pressed a flash drive into her palm. "Everything's on there. Room 314. What they're hiding. Why you were brought here. You need to get out before—" Bang! A gunshot echoed through the garage. The woman's eyes widened. Blood bloomed on her coat. She collapsed into Anna's arms, whispering something into her ear as her breath slipped away. Anna looked up and saw nothing, just the hollow dark. Someone didn't want the truth found, and now she had blood on her hands. The woman died in Anna's arms, her final breath trailing a whisper. "They're not patients. They're prisoners." Anna sat there, frozen on the cold concrete of parking level 3, her hands still clenched around the blood-slicked flash drive. A distant alarm began to echo in her head, not from outside but within, the kind that tells you run or disappear. But she didn't run. She hid. Slipping through shadows, Anna made her way back upstairs unnoticed. Whoever fired that shot was gone, or watching. Either way, she knew one thing now. They were onto her. In the sterile brightness of her suite, Anna locked the door, pulled the blackout shades, and inserted the flash drive into her secure tablet. A folder popped up. 314, experiment logs. Files, dozens. Medical records, security footage, emails between executives, and a master document simply titled, Candidate Dossier, Brooks A. She clicked. Her own photo stared back. Selected due to profile, high empathy, low attachment, prior trauma, exceptional crisis response. Ideal for controlled exposure. Controlled exposure? Her stomach twisted. She scrolled faster. Video thumbnails filled the screen. She clicked one dated March 3rd, 2023. A man strapped to a hospital bed. Tubes. Screaming. Begging. Then a figure entered. Henry. Calm, smiling, holding a syringe. The footage cut out. She clicked another. This one older. A girl. No older than 10. Hair matted, eyes hollow. Her chart read, Subject 7, failed emotional response. Increased dosage. Observe reactivity to external care presence. Anna's vision blurred. They weren't healing people in room 314. They were breaking them. At dawn, she made a decision. She would go to room 314. She used a scalpel from the emergency med kit to slice a tiny line on her finger, enough to leave a smudge on the biometric pad as she pressed the woman's, her friend's, still warm hand from the garage against it. It worked. The lock clicked. She entered. Room 314 wasn't a room. It was a hallway. Metal doors lined each side, some open, some locked. A low hum filled the air, like electricity crawling along your spine. Behind one door, a woman in a hospital gown, rocking back and forth, whispering numbers. Another, a boy, maybe 16, staring blankly at the wall, IV lines snaking down his arms. Each door had a name. Each file from the flash drive had a match. At the end of the hall, a final door, stronger, reinforced. It opened with the same stolen print. And there, Henry Cole stood waiting. No guards, just him. Like he knew she would come, like he'd been waiting. I hoped it wouldn't be this way, Anna, he said, voice soft, almost paternal. You lied to me, she said, tears in her voice. You're experimenting on people, on children. He nodded. You wouldn't have taken the job if I told you the truth. And what truth is that? She spat. He stepped closer, eyes glowing with something ancient and dangerous. That pain rewires the soul. That in breaking people, we find who they really are. And in healing them, We create something more. You, of all people, should understand. I save people, Anna hissed. You fix people, he corrected. So do I, just with different tools. She reached into her coat pocket, fingers trembling, wrapped around a syringe from her kit. Loaded, sedative, but before she could move, the lights cut out. Darkness swallowed room 314. Then, alarms, and overhead a robotic voice. Security breach detected. Facility lockdown in effect. Anna wasn't alone anymore. Someone else had broken in, or broken out, and now the whole tower was a trap. She had one shot, get out alive, or never leave at all. The alarms blared through the entire building, deafening in their urgency. Red emergency lights bathed the steel corridors in blood-like hues, but Anna's heartbeat was louder than everything. Her feet pounded the floor as she dashed through the narrow halls of Cole Tower. Each breath was shallow, panicked, but she couldn't slow down now. She was so close to the truth. Too close. Then, Ben. He was there. Ben! Anna stopped in her tracks, her chest tight with disbelief. She had to know. He had to explain. He was panting, sweat dripping down his face. His expression was a mixture of desperation and fear. His hand shot out to grab her wrist, but Anna jerked away. Why? She gasped. Why didn't you tell me what was happening here? All this, these experiments. Why didn't you stop him? I couldn't, Anna. Ben's voice cracked. You don't understand. It's not just about the people in these rooms. It's about everything. The future, the legacy. He made us, Anna. He built this empire, and now we're too deep to back out. Anna's mind raced, but the truth was starting to break through. He's not saving anyone, Ben. He's destroying them, and you're complicit. I didn't have a choice, he shouted. You think I wanted to become like this? To follow him? Ben's expression faltered as something unspoken hung between them. The flickering lights above them seemed to pulse in time, with her rapidly beating heart. Please, he pleaded, his voice suddenly raw. You have to get out of here. You have to stop him before it's too late. Before she could answer, a shadow moved behind him. The sound of a click echoed through the hallway. Anna's breath caught. It was Henry. Without a word, he raised the gun at Ben. Anna froze, her pulse spiking, her mind spinning. Number, this can't be happening. Ben turned just in time to see his father's cold expression. Father, no! Ben shouted, his voice thick with terror. You don't have to do this. I'm on your side. But Henry Cole's face remained impassive, a ruthless calm settling over him like a cloud. You've been on the wrong side for far too long, son. Before Anna could react, Henry pulled the trigger. Bang! Ben's body jerked violently, his eyes wide with shock. He crumpled to the ground in an instant, falling into a pool of his own blood. No! Anna screamed, rushing to Ben's side. But he was already gone. Henry stepped forward, wiping the gun with a cloth. He didn't even look at his son's body as he approached Anna, his eyes locked on her with an unsettling intensity. Do you understand now, Anna? He said quietly, stepping over Ben's lifeless form. This is what happens when you don't play by the rules. You think I'm the monster, but you haven't seen the bigger picture. Anna's chest tightened with grief, rage, and fear. You killed your own son. It's the price of survival, Henry said, his voice detached. You have to make hard choices in a world that doesn't care. Ben didn't understand that, but you will. Without warning, he grabbed her wrist, pulling her toward the nearest elevator. Let me go. Anna struggled, pulling away, but Henry's grip tightened. You're coming with me, he growled. It's too late for you to back out now. The elevator doors closed with a clang, and they descended deep into the bowels of the tower. Anna's mind raced. She had to escape. She had to. But something told her Henry wasn't taking her to the usual offices. When the doors opened, the scent hit her first, the faint metallic tang of blood, mingling with the sterile smell of chemicals. She stepped out into a long, cold corridor that stretched endlessly before her. This is where it all began, Henry said, his voice filled with an eerie pride. He led her to a massive metal door at the end of the hall. He swiped his key card, and it slid open with a mechanical hiss. Inside was a room unlike any she had seen before. Rows of glass containers lined the walls, each one filled with something or someone. The people inside the tanks were still, lifeless, their faces pale and eerily peaceful, as if they had never lived at all. Anna's stomach churned. She stepped closer, and her eyes widened with horror. They're alive. They're still alive. These are my projects, Henry said, his voice almost reverent. Each of them was a test. Each of them was meant to show me how far I could push the human body and mind, how far I could push you. Anna's blood ran cold. You've been doing this to people. For years. He nodded, his expression almost proud. You think your life meant something before this, Anna? You were just another cog, another statistic. But now you're part of something much greater, something that will change the world. Anna stepped back. I don't want any part of this. Let me go. But Henry only smiled. You've already made your choice, Anna. You're far too valuable to leave. You'll stay. You'll help me finish what I started. Before she could protest, the sound of footsteps echoed behind them. Anna turned, her heart skipping a beat. A figure emerged from the shadows. A woman. It was the same woman who had tried to warn her in parking level 3. The one who had died in her arms. But now, she was alive, and she was standing right in front of Anna. The woman stepped forward, her voice cold and distant. You're too late, Anna. You're already one of us. The world seemed to close in on her. The walls, the tanks, the cold, lifeless eyes staring at her from all directions. There was no escape. And then a sudden sound, a blinding flash of light. The building shook as if the very foundation of Cole Tower was cracking apart. The door to the room slammed shut, locking them all inside. Henry's eyes widened with disbelief. What the hell? He muttered. The walls trembled again. The power flickered, and Anna realized. This was it. A new force was coming. A force that could undo everything Henry had built. And for the first time in what felt like forever, Anna felt a sliver of hope. The fight wasn't over.